Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. We are the Group 4, and we're going to be reporting about the empowering and transformative leadership of Mother Ignatia.
So, leadership involves a calling and a charism from a Catholic perspective. And people talk about having the desire to lead. No, when it comes to the secular world, a completely different perspective is one which leadership is viewed as a calling or vocation from God. So, our baptismal calling is where everything began or diri gyud nag-start tanan no. And on the other side pod, it can also be a charism which means it is a gift bestowed upon select individuals by the Holy Spirit for the benefit of other people and the edification of the Christ body. So, God does not give us the gift of leadership or ask us to utilize it for our own gain or only to fulfill some selfish goal. Pero, naagya po na sa tua or it is up to us if bag-oho nato na siya or if we change those things. As a leader, 'di ba, si Mother Ignacia is fulfill jud niya iyang calling. So, what she do is she set a high standard for herself in order to inspire tong uban nga mga people around her, which is apil po to dito to yung mga companion sa Biatas to emulate her example of selfless service to the community. She accomplished this by maintaining a steady contact with God. She was able to change the neighborhood and the people na nagapuyo dito. And like Mother Ignacia, no, as a leaders, we must fulfill our roles with fidelity and magpray lang gid ta kay God to provide us the traits we need to possess to do so in order to accomplish our goals and in order to perform job as a good leader.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon once again. So, for this part, let's now talk about Mother Ignatia and her style of leadership. And as we go through the learning content, no, we will begin to realize how empowering and transformative the leadership of Mother Ignatia is. But for us to truly understand the development of her leadership, let's first talk about her roots. So, from the beginning, Mother Ignatia was faced with a problem regarding the desire of her parents for her to get married. However, wala jud niya na-feel deep within her heart that she was destined for a married life. So, Mother Ignatia resolved this dilemma through consultation and following the advice to make a retreat that led to her decision to serve God by living by the sweat of her brow. This means that she made a decision na maginusara gid siya and to survive by her own hard work. Hence, she left her parents and everything except a needle and a pair of scissors from home and adopted a lifestyle of prayer, penance, and sacrifice. So, this act of Mother Ignatia changed the process of society when Spanish and Chinese mestizas and Indias joined her to follow her path of service through retreat for women, education, and dormitory work as a boarding school. So, daghan jud og mga tao ang na-inspire sa bravery ni Mother Ignacia and sa iyahang grabe na dedication for service. So, it is through her spiritual and transformative leadership, which is service, that she made a difference in the church and society. So, because of Mother Ignacia, the discriminated women had a place in society, not only in the home. Her house accommodated those interested in becoming beatas, those who wanted to stay in the Beato as recogidas, and children coming from the underprivileged were offered education and trained in household chores in the dormitory. So Mother Ignacia, from only having a pair of scissors and a needle, built something so beautiful. And Monisia ang she made like a little haven where people do not feel that they are unwanted, where people are given the opportunity to grow, not only physically and intellectually, but also spiritually, uh, which is such a peaceful place, especially on this time where discrimination was very rampant. So, through Mother Ignatia's leadership, by example, her beatas were seen as blossoming flowers of virtues and virginity, their work being supported by people around them, and women of all walks of life were being led to the Lord through the retreat, following the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius of Loyola of the Jesuits. Her bold initiative was seen as laudable to the city, and her response to the needs of the Church as relevant, responsive, and effective to men and women and children alike. So ang calling ni Mother Ignacia and iyang response addressed the needs of the family, effecting change, namely for women to collaborate with men in growth and development of society and children, especially the poor, to be given opportunities to study and be educated in reading, writing, and arithmetic, and to be taught household chores. So, Mother Ignatia's leadership was characterized by mutuality. Kaning mutuality, this is a form of relation that involves a give and take according to each one's strengths and weaknesses, and trust, affection, and respect of differences. So, as foundress and superior, she occupied the top position of the leadership of the community. She, however, knew the limits of her role. She governed after the example of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and she did not take any advantage of her position or play favorites.
Writing a biography of Mother Ignatia, Father Bello saw rare qualities of leadership in her. Mother Ignatia was an energetic woman of rare qualities of leadership. Her leadership was characterized by humility. Mother Ignatia knew her strengths and weaknesses, and she was not afraid to know the truth about herself. She was an inspiring personality with a generous dose of common sense in dealing with people, and her example was her main asset in attracting other women to follow her way of life, which was one of abnegation and sacrifice. Si Mother Ignatia, she led by example, and her community was formed because other women saw her example of prayer and virtue. She did not she did not ask for her beatas to do anything that she herself had not done. She became the role model of her companions in the life of prayer, penance, and work mao nang daghang nainganyo mag-join. If she had not possessed all these qualities, her spiritual advisors and directors would have from the beginning discouraged her from starting this retreat apostolate and accepting other women to follow her. Her empowered leadership was also unique because of the bold initiatives she took as a woman, blazing new trails not only in the country, not only as one coming from an indigenous race, but for the church and the world that sees her as a servant of the church and of God. Mother Ignatia is a transformative leader because she made a difference in the church and society. The discriminated woman had a place in society and not only in the home. Giprove niya na ang woman ay dili lang pangbalayad lang na kanang daghan silang mabuhat aside sa household works. She accommodated women, mapa-Indians, mestizas, and Spaniards pa man who were interested to become beatas and those who wanted to stay in beaterio as recogidas. She taught the women home, arts, and religion. The underprivileged children were offered education and trained in doing household chores in the dormitory and help in retreat for women, even Spanish ladies, took care of women whose husbands were away or widows who wanted to lead a quiet life. Through her leadership by example, their work was supported by people around them, pati financial help. and women from all walks of life were being led to the Lord through retreat following the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Her bold initiative was seen as laudable to the city and her response to the needs of the church as relevant, responsive, and effective to men and women and children alike. Her response to the needs of the family affected change, namely for women to collaborate with men in the growth and development of the society and children, especially the poor, be given opportunities to study and be educated in reading, writing, and arithmetic and be taught household chores.
So, to sum it all up, Mother Ignatia's leadership allowed her to lead, and with her service, she was able to lead. She lived selflessly as she dedicated her life serving God and His people. And her humility, faith, bravery, and dedication made it possible for her to lead a community. Therefore, we can conclude that after hearing and learning Mother Ignatia's empowering and transformative leadership, she left a great impact, an inspiration, especially to the women in the society, to fight for their rights, to follow their calling, and to be connected to God. Mother Ignatia also showed us how she lived her life with God's wisdom, understanding His gospel, and with the knowledge of truths. Mother Ignatia taught us the importance of kindness and humility, how it can create mutual love and unity by putting others first without thinking what they can do for us in return. That is why she never took advantage of her leadership for her own interest. Rather, she used it to show her dedication in serving God and to serve others. And with that, we learned what a good leadership is. And lastly, Mother Ignatia showed us that with God's grace and guidance, nothing is impossible. Because in an era where Filipinos and women are stripped of their rights, she was able to create a community where no one is discriminated. She united people from different ages and different races. Therefore, up until now, we can tell that her influence is still visible and alive, as we can see organizations which are inspired by her great qualities and empowering leadership skills and her commitment to God. So that is the end of our report about the empowering and transformative leadership of Mother Ignatia. We hope that you learned something and thank you for listening.